I saw this on LSM.
I love it. I am blessed, you know? Like, thank fucking God I make enough money and I don't have to do much work. Like, I just sit here and watch my videos and play my games, which is like great, you know? But I make like 150K a year. That's not a million. That's not millionaire money. And then like people see the top 3 streamers making like 35K on a sponsor, and they just assume that everyone does that. Like, you know, I didn't get a sponsor for 6 months, and then when I do get a sponsor, it's like 3 to 5K. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm really happy. I'm like really happy. I'm not saying it's bad. I am not complaining. But then like I don't understand the other people who complain. Like, or like say that I'm a millionaire. None of us, I don't think majority of streamers aren't millionaires.
Yeah, I like do people want to like know the like I mean, I'm pretty transparent with you guys about like the money I make streaming and stuff. Mike was dying. Sorry. I think a lot of streamers at like fan size and probably even my size, people assume they make a lot more. I think the streamers, so I think people think they make a lot, or sorry, they make a lot more and they actually make less. They also weirdly think that people at like Hassan's level make a lot more when he actually makes less than they might be thinking, right? Like they think he's like some like giga multi-gajillionaire, right? Yeah, I think the like financials on streaming are kind of, yeah, I don't know. And so I can tell you guys, I'll tell you guys what I earn or like, or a ballpark of it. So the data is there if people really want to know. No, because it really depends on sponsors. I think one thing, I think when fans like, oh, like here's what I make from Twitch, right? And it's just, well, I don't get that many sponsors. But the difference is for someone like me, and again, this isn't like, I mean, this might just be because I've been around or you know, Fan just recently started like blowing up or something. And I think I was at an established level and like of around like 2K viewers for a while. And 2K is actually kind of a sweet spot. As a streamer, 2K is a sweet spot because you get good sponsor opportunities, but you're not too expensive that other sponsors won't take you. Because eventually you get too big and then sponsors won't even, you're like too expensive for it. No, this isn't saying like fans is probably, like for instance, to give you guys an example of like someone who is more sponsor heavy than fan. I can tell you guys I don't know exactly, and it does fluctuate by year, but I probably earn between Twitch and sponsor, like if you look at all of my earnings. Okay, so the thing about Twitch financials is it really depends on like sponsors and stuff. Okay, well, the other thing is I also I run another business, so I run my consulting business too. So if I think I just look at my Twitch earnings and not my consulting earnings, I would estimate somewhere between, and again, so this is, we're counting my Twitch, my sponsor, we're counting everything except for my separate consulting business. I probably make in a really low year, and again, I only have a few years of data, but probably it's going to be somewhere between 200 and 300,000 a year. So that's what I earn. And again, I'm like giving like I'm trying to give you guys, and the range might even be bigger. Mine is also, and speaking of Floral, thanks for the 25 months. I do think I run a slightly different operation though, in that I spend a lot of money on content as well. So for instance, my I think in terms of other streamers my size, I probably invest more into my YouTube. Ooh, our P lover just dropped the undie heist, so we'll have to check that out. I have several different YouTube accounts. So I have my main channel, I have a clips channel, I have a VODs channel, and then I have the roleplay podcast. And all of these, I pay editors, I pay thumbnail artists, I pay branding and stuff. I end up actually spending a big chunk of money on all of my – on my YouTube. I don't make money on my YouTube. And my YouTube still, like for instance, 90% of my content is I think all of my YouTube channels earn probably around like, I think all of them combined is probably like 40 to 50K a year. And I don't make money off it. That's the revenue, not the cost. So yeah, also, so yeah, when I say that's how much I make as a streamer, I also have a pretty big business spend that I do as well. So I have a pretty big business spend. So I think if I was to look at like pure profit on my Twitch and sponsors is going to be something closer to probably around like, and again, these aren't like living expenses. I'm saying just purely to business expenses. I'm probably now at like 170 to like 250,000 in pure profit. I think what else? And to be fair, this is also not counting my other business. So now you guys don't know like what you guys won't know what I fully make, but yeah. So, but again, for me, I would actually argue that like sponsors in a given year, I can actually earn more from sponsors than I can from Twitch. That's just like a little insight into how much creators make. And you guys know like how like what size creator I am. I think there are some large creators that people blast for how much money they earn. It's like, oh yeah, they obviously earn a lot. Like they are millionaires, but like, again, I think people have a really warped assumption of like the kind of wealth that someone like Hassan has. Do I also think that there are creators who are purposefully very quiet about their earnings? Absolutely. Respect the openness. People get weird about money. Yeah, I mean, like I'll say, guys, there are streamers who earn my yearly streaming amount. They earn that in a month. But like, yeah, for reference, like when I was working at Riot, and here's a good reference sort of for like the money of streaming, right? When I worked at Riot, I worked as a strategist. And when I started in the industry, here's like a good look at like sort of like, I guess the quick way of looking at earnings over time. And again, this is in California. So a lot of these numbers to the rest of the US, I'll be totally honest with you guys, these numbers are inflated because the cost of living in California is just higher. You're taxed more. So just remember, all these numbers are a little inflated. I started as an intern for PlayStation. I believe my first offer with them was $70K a year. And then I worked for Riot. When I moved to Riot, I could have gotten a bigger pay increase, but I actually, in negotiations, completely tanked the pay increase and got it all in equity. I got as much as I could in equity in Riot. So I think it was 80K was my salary when I first started at Riot. And then but again, I tanked that one really down to get a bunch of equity. I worked at Riot for 5 years. And by the end of the 5 years, I believe my salary was about at 200,000. So I was earning about 200K salary. And then, yeah, Inner Sloth was less, but I mean, you take a pay cut when you work for a smaller, like sort of indie company like that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like when I transitioned more from content, from being a game dev, it's because I was earning more than 200,000. So, and again, this isn't me, like, this isn't a flex. This is like, hey, like, here's like sort of like an example of like a normal career versus what you can earn as a streamer. But the reality is, like, streamer earnings are really bizarre, chat. It's going to vary by a lot of, like, you can have someone who is much lower. This is the other thing is I think a lot of people probably look at like a view count in a given day and they're like, oh, they must earn so much because of the view count, where it's like, not really. I mean, it really, like, I genuinely think once you're looking at any streamer, like maybe over probably 500 or 1,000 viewers, I would say much more of the variance in what they're earning is going to come from sponsors. And then lastly, like, platform deals are extremely lucrative. So, Blau, do you feel happier working for yourself? Yes, I love that.